If you wake up in the morning and your tongue has a thick white coating, if you notice your tongue has scalloped edges that look like teeth marks along the sides, or if you see cracks running across the surface that were never there before, I need you to stay with me for the next several minutes because your tongue is trying to tell you something that most doctors never explain. What I'm about to share connects an ancient diagnostic tool with modern scientific understanding, and it could reveal exactly why you have been struggling with digestive problems that no one seems able to solve. This is not about brushing your tongue harder. This is not about mouthwash or dental hygiene. This is about understanding that your tongue is a window into your gut, and when your tongue looks wrong, your digestive system is sending you an urgent message. Let me make you a clear promise right now. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what different tongue appearances mean for your gut health. You will know the specific signs that indicate bacterial imbalance, poor digestion, nutrient deficiencies, and inflammation in your digestive tract. And you will have practical steps to address these problems at their source rather than just masking the symptoms. I am Dr. James Mitchell. I have spent over 2 decades helping patients with chronic digestive issues, and one of the most powerful diagnostic tools I use costs nothing and takes only seconds. I ask patients to show me their tongue. The tongue is one of the only internal tissues we can see without special equipment. It shares the same tissue lining as your entire digestive tract from mouth to stomach to intestines. When something goes wrong in your gut, your tongue often shows it first. Yet most people have no idea what a healthy tongue should look like or what the changes they see each morning actually mean. They assume a coated tongue is normal. They think cracks and grooves are just aging. They never connect what they see in the mirror with the bloating, constipation, fatigue, and discomfort they feel every day. So let me ask you directly. Have you noticed changes in how your tongue looks over the past months or years? Does your tongue have a coating, cracks, unusual colors, or strange textures? Write your answer in the comments below because awareness of these patterns is the first step toward understanding what your gut actually needs. Let me tell you about a woman named Patricia. Patricia was 64 years old and had struggled with digestive problems for over a decade. She experienced bloating after almost every meal. She alternated between constipation and loose stools. She felt tired constantly and had been told she had irritable bowel syndrome. Patricia had tried elimination diets, probiotics, fiber supplements, and multiple medications. Nothing provided lasting relief. When she came to see me, she was frustrated and convinced that nothing would help. The first thing I noticed was her tongue. It had a thick yellowish-white coating that extended from the back toward the middle. The edges were scalloped with clear indentations from her teeth, and there were several cracks running lengthwise across the surface. When I explained to Patricia that her tongue was showing me exactly what was happening in her gut, she was surprised. No doctor had ever looked at her tongue or mentioned any connection between what she saw in the mirror and what she felt in her abdomen. What Patricia's tongue revealed was bacterial overgrowth, poor digestive capacity, and chronic inflammation. When we addressed these underlying issues rather than just treating symptoms, her tongue began to change. The coating thinned, the cracks became less pronounced, and her digestive symptoms finally started to improve. Patricia's story is not unusual. I see this pattern regularly. The tongue tells the story that lab tests often miss. Here is what I want you to understand, and this is the foundation for everything else I will share. Your tongue and your gut are intimately connected because they are made of the same tissue, and they share the same bacterial ecosystem. The lining of your tongue is continuous with the lining of your esophagus, stomach, and intestines. It is all one connected tube of tissue that runs through your entire body. When that tissue becomes inflamed, irritated, or imbalanced anywhere along its length, you often see evidence on the tongue. Additionally, your tongue hosts its own community of bacteria that is directly influenced by the bacteria living in your gut. Research now shows that the coating on your tongue is largely made up of bacteria, dead cells, and debris. The thickness, color, and distribution of that coating reflects the bacterial balance throughout your digestive system. This is why ancient medical traditions around the world used tongue diagnosis as a primary assessment tool. They observed thousands of years ago what modern science is only now confirming. The tongue reveals the internal state of the body, particularly the digestive system. Now let me walk you through the specific tongue appearances that signal gut problems and what each one actually means. The first and most common sign is a white coating on the tongue. A thin white coating is actually normal, especially first thing in the morning before you eat or drink anything. This is simply accumulated cells and bacteria from overnight. But a thick white coating that does not brush away easily, that returns quickly after cleaning, or that extends across most of the tongue surface is telling you something important. This type of coating typically indicates an overgrowth of bacteria or yeast in the digestive tract. When the bacterial balance in your gut becomes disrupted, when harmful organisms begin to outnumber beneficial ones, this shows up as excessive coating on the tongue. The thicker the coating, the more significant the imbalance tends to be. Many people with thick white tongue coating also experience symptoms like bloating, gas, brain fog, fatigue, and sugar cravings. These symptoms make sense when you understand that bacterial overgrowth in the gut produces toxins and gases that affect the entire body. Candida overgrowth specifically often manifests as a thick white coating that has an almost cottage cheese-like texture in severe cases. If you have taken multiple rounds of antibiotics, if you eat a diet high in sugar and refined carbohydrates, or if you have taken acid-blocking medications long-term, you are at higher risk for this type of imbalance. The second important sign is a yellow coating on the tongue. Yellow coloring typically indicates that bacterial overgrowth has progressed further, or that there is significant heat and inflammation in the digestive system. Yellow coating often accompanies symptoms like acid reflux, burning sensations in the stomach, foul breath, and a bitter taste in the mouth. It suggests that the digestive environment has become quite disturbed and that harmful bacteria are producing substantial waste products. Some people with yellow tongue coating also have sluggish liver or gallbladder function. These organs play a crucial role in digestion and detoxification. When they are not working optimally, the effects can show up both in digestive symptoms and in the appearance of the tongue. If you notice your tongue has a yellowish tint, especially toward the back, this is a sign to take seriously. It suggests your gut imbalance has been developing for some time and needs attention. The third sign is a geographic tongue. This is when the tongue surface looks like a map with irregular smooth red patches surrounded by white or grayish borders. The patches may change position over days or weeks, creating different patterns. Geographic tongue is often connected to food sensitivities and gut inflammation. Many people with this pattern react to certain foods, particularly gluten, dairy, citrus, or nightshade vegetables. Their immune system is responding to these foods in a way that creates inflammation visible on the tongue. If you have geographic tongue, I encourage you to pay attention to whether the pattern changes after eating certain foods. This can be a valuable clue about which foods might be triggering inflammation in your gut even when digestive symptoms are subtle. The fourth sign is cracks or fissures on the tongue. A deeply cracked tongue, sometimes called a scrotal tongue because of its wrinkled appearance, indicates chronic issues that have been developing over time. Cracks on the tongue most commonly indicate nutrient deficiencies, particularly B vitamins, iron, and zinc. These nutrients are essential for maintaining healthy tissue throughout the digestive tract. When you are deficient, your tongue tissue becomes weakened and develops cracks. But here is the crucial connection. Nutrient deficiencies in adults usually are not caused by not eating enough nutrients. They are caused by not absorbing nutrients properly. And the reason for poor absorption is usually gut dysfunction. When your gut lining is inflamed or damaged, when you lack adequate stomach acid, when your bacterial balance is disrupted, you cannot extract and absorb nutrients from your food efficiently. You can eat a perfect diet and still become deficient because your digestive system is not working correctly. So cracks on the tongue are really telling you that your gut has not been functioning well for quite some time. The deficiencies you see are downstream effects of upstream digestive problems. The fifth sign is scalloped edges on the tongue. If you look in the mirror and see wavy indentations along the sides of your tongue that match your teeth, this indicates swelling and fluid retention in the tongue tissue. Scalloped tongue most commonly reflects poor digestive function, particularly weak spleen and stomach energy in traditional terms, or inadequate digestive capacity in Western understanding. Your body is not breaking down and processing food efficiently, leading to accumulation and stagnation. People with scalloped tongues often feel heavy and sluggish after eating. They may experience water retention in other parts of their body. They frequently feel tired, especially after meals when their energy should be stable. Scalloped tongue also suggests that the body is working too hard to digest food. The tongue actually swells slightly during this effort, and pressed against the teeth creates the characteristic indentations. The sixth sign is a red or beefy tongue. A tongue that looks unusually red, raw, or inflamed often indicates significant nutrient deficiencies, particularly B12 and folate. It can also signal that the gut lining itself is inflamed and irritated. A red tongue is especially common in people who have taken acid-blocking medications long-term. These medications reduce the stomach acid needed to absorb B12. Over years, this creates deficiency that shows up as tongue changes along with fatigue, nerve tingling, and cognitive difficulties. A bright red tongue can also indicate that the digestive tract is experiencing active inflammation. Conditions like inflammatory bowel disease often manifest with oral signs including tongue redness and mouth sores. Now let me explain why these signs develop and what is actually happening in your gut when your tongue looks abnormal. Your digestive system is home to trillions of bacteria. In a healthy gut, beneficial bacteria predominate. They help break down food, produce vitamins, protect the gut lining, and regulate immune function. When this bacterial community is balanced, your digestion works smoothly and your tongue looks healthy. But modern life constantly disrupts this balance. Antibiotics kill beneficial bacteria along with harmful ones. Acid-blocking medications change the pH environment that bacteria need. Processed foods feed harmful bacteria while starving beneficial ones. Chronic stress reduces digestive secretions and slows gut motility. Environmental toxins damage the gut lining. When your bacterial balance becomes disrupted, harmful organisms begin to thrive. They produce gases that cause bloating. They create toxins that cause inflammation. They damage the gut lining, leading to increased permeability, sometimes called leaky gut. As this happens, your immune system becomes activated. Inflammation spreads, nutrient absorption decreases, and your tongue begins to show the effects. The coating on your tongue is essentially a reflection of the coating throughout your digestive tract. When bacteria overgrow in your gut, they overgrow on your tongue. When inflammation increases in your intestines, it shows up in the tissue of your tongue. This is why superficial approaches do not work. You can scrape your tongue every morning and the coating returns because the source of the problem is in your gut. You can use mouthwash to kill bacteria on your tongue, but the imbalanced bacteria keep flowing up from below. The only lasting solution is to address the gut dysfunction creating the tongue symptoms. Let me tell you about another patient. His name was Thomas. He was 71 years old and had come to see me primarily about fatigue and brain fog that had been worsening for several years. Almost as an afterthought, he mentioned that his tongue looked strange. When I examined Thomas, I saw a tongue that was quite red, with a smooth, almost shiny appearance in some areas. The coating was minimal. This pattern is actually the opposite of the thick-coated tongue, but equally concerning. Thomas had been taking proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux for over 8 years. These medications had gradually destroyed his ability to produce stomach acid. Without adequate acid, he could not absorb B12, iron, and other crucial nutrients. His tongue had become smooth and red because of these deficiencies. Additionally, the lack of stomach acid had allowed bacteria to overgrow in his small intestine. This bacterial overgrowth was fermenting his food and producing the very gas and pressure that felt like acid reflux. The medication meant to help him was actually perpetuating the problem. When we carefully weaned Thomas off the acid blockers, supported his digestion with natural alternatives, addressed his bacterial overgrowth, and replenished his deficient nutrients, his tongue gradually returned to a healthier appearance. His energy improved, his brain fog lifted, and ironically his reflux improved as well once we addressed the real cause. Thomas had been treating a symptom while making the underlying problem worse. His tongue showed us exactly what was happening and guided us toward the real solution. Now let me share what actually helps restore gut health and normalize tongue appearance. These steps address the root causes rather than just masking symptoms. The first step is removing the factors that disrupt gut balance. This means minimizing unnecessary medications, especially acid blockers and frequent antibiotics. It means reducing processed foods, particularly sugar and refined carbohydrates that feed harmful bacteria. It means managing stress, which directly impacts gut function. And it means avoiding foods that you personally react to, even if they are considered healthy foods. For many people, identifying and removing reactive foods makes a dramatic difference. The inflammation calms down. The tongue appearance improves. Digestive symptoms resolve. The challenge is that reactive foods vary from person to person. What bothers one person is fine for another. Paying attention to your own body is essential. The second step is supporting digestive capacity. Many people, especially after age 50, do not produce adequate stomach acid or digestive enzymes. This means food is not fully broken down, nutrients are not properly extracted, and partially digested food feeds bacterial overgrowth. For some people, supplementing with digestive enzymes or betaine hydrochloride with meals dramatically improves digestion and reduces symptoms. Food breaks down more completely. Nutrients absorb more efficiently. The gut environment becomes less hospitable to harmful organisms. I always recommend working with a knowledgeable practitioner before supplementing with stomach acid. It is not appropriate for everyone, but for those who need it, the effects can be remarkable. The third step is rebalancing the bacterial community. This goes beyond simply taking a probiotic, although the right probiotic can certainly help. It means creating conditions where beneficial bacteria can thrive and harmful bacteria cannot. This includes eating plenty of fiber-rich vegetables that feed beneficial bacteria. It includes consuming fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, and kefir that provide living beneficial organisms. It includes avoiding unnecessary antibacterial products that indiscriminately kill bacteria, both good and bad. For some people with significant bacterial overgrowth, a more targeted approach using antimicrobial herbs or even prescription treatments may be necessary to reset the bacterial balance. But long-term health requires creating an environment that maintains healthy balance naturally. The fourth step is healing the gut lining. When the gut lining has been damaged by inflammation, infection, medications, or food reactions, it needs specific support to repair. Certain nutrients are particularly important for gut healing. Glutamine is an amino acid that gut cells use as their primary fuel source. Zinc supports tissue repair throughout the digestive tract. Vitamin A helps maintain the protective mucus layer. Omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation. Bone broth has been used traditionally for gut healing because it provides many of these nutrients in an easily absorbed form. Collagen and gelatin also support the gut lining structure. Healing the gut lining takes time. You will not see changes in days, but over weeks and months, consistent support makes a real difference. As the gut heals, the tongue appearance follows. The fifth step is addressing specific nutrient deficiencies. If your tongue shows signs of B12 deficiency, iron deficiency, or other specific lacks, these need to be corrected directly. Testing is valuable here because it confirms which nutrients are actually low rather than guessing. Once deficiencies are identified, supplementation can restore optimal levels. But remember that absorption must be addressed simultaneously, or supplements will not work well. Let me share one more story. A woman named Dorothy came to me at age 68 with a tongue that showed almost every sign I have described. It had thick coating in some areas and was raw and red in others. The edges were scalloped. There were cracks running through the surface. She had struggled with digestive problems for years but had never connected them to what she saw in her mirror each morning. Dorothy had a long history of antibiotic use for recurring infections. She had taken acid blockers for 15 years. She ate a fairly typical American diet with plenty of processed foods. All of these factors had accumulated over decades to create significant gut dysfunction. We worked together over the course of a year, making gradual changes. We addressed her bacterial overgrowth. We weaned her off unnecessary medications. We improved her diet. We supported her digestive capacity. We healed her gut lining. We corrected her nutrient deficiencies. The changes did not happen overnight, but they did happen. Her tongue coating gradually thinned. The red areas calmed down. The cracks became less pronounced. Her digestive symptoms improved steadily. She had more energy than she had experienced in years. Dorothy told me that learning to read her tongue transformed her relationship with her health. She could now see her gut improving day by day. She understood the connection between what she ate and how her body responded. She felt empowered rather than helpless. That is what I want for everyone watching this video. Here is what I encourage you to do starting today. Tomorrow morning, before you eat or drink anything, look at your tongue in the mirror. Really look at it. Notice the color. Notice whether there is coating and how thick it is. Notice the shape and texture. Then ask yourself these questions. Does my tongue have a thick coating that does not go away easily? Does it have an unusual color like yellow or bright red? Are there cracks or grooves that seem significant? Are the edges scalloped with teeth marks? Does the surface look patchy or irregular? If you answered yes to any of these questions, your gut is sending you a message. It is asking for attention. It is telling you that something is not right internally, even if your symptoms seem vague or hard to explain. Take a photo of your tongue so you can track changes over time. As you implement the steps I have shared, watch for improvement. A healthier tongue means a healthier gut. It is that direct. I want to close with something important. Gut dysfunction is not something you have to live with. It is not inevitable aging. It is not something to mask with medications and ignore. Your digestive system wants to work well. It has remarkable capacity to heal when given the right support, and your tongue is there every morning showing you exactly where you stand. The ancient physicians were right. The tongue is a mirror reflecting your internal health. Modern science is confirming what traditional medicine knew for thousands of years. We now understand the mechanisms. We know about the microbiome, inflammation, and nutrient absorption. The knowledge is there. What you do with this knowledge is up to you. But I hope you will look at your tongue tomorrow morning with new eyes. I hope you will listen to what it is telling you. And I hope you will take steps to give your gut the support it has been asking for. If this information helped you understand something about your own health, please share it with someone who might benefit. And if you want more guidance on healing your gut and improving your digestion, subscribe to this channel because I have much more to share. Thank you for watching. This is Dr. James Mitchell. Listen to your body because it is always trying to communicate with you.